There are a lot of things about YouTube that I appreciate. If it wasn't for this platform, my journey out of Islam would have looked very different, and I probably would not have reached and helped as many people as I have. But there are also things about YouTube that are absolutely broken, things that work in favor of hateful and dangerous people, including Islamists. And today I'm going to tell you all about it. My name is Apostate Aladdin, and you're watching one of the best ex-Muslim YouTube channels, so consider subscribing if you haven't already. So how does YouTube help and enable Islamists? One way is by allowing their rhetoric to be published and monetized on this website. Rhetoric which includes justifying God-sanctioned child marriage and domestic abuse, among other barbaric beliefs. But what I'm focusing on today is how YouTube's broken copyright system puts power in the hands of online jihadis. The power to censor and dox people like me, which they have been using to their full advantage. I'll tell you what they did, how they did it, and how you could avoid being harmed if you find yourself in my position. I'll also tell you what I need to better equip myself in this fight against Islamism, because I need your help to keep the terrorists from winning. This isn't my first rodeo with online jihadis, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my other run-ins with them later. But here's what I mean by that word. Though the Arabic Islamic term jihad could mean struggle or strive, it very often refers to an effort to fight for the sake of Allah, or more broadly for the sake of religiously motivated goals. This can get violent, like the many wars and terrorist attacks done in the name of God. But when a self-proclaimed jihadi cannot resort to violence, they find other ways to fight their holy war. Just last week, somebody attempted what might be the most dangerous attack on my channel yet. By using YouTube's copyright system to report some old videos of mine, they pretended to be the copyright holders of a minor component of the videos and threatened legal action. YouTube, of course, responded by removing the videos and giving my channel a copyright strike. 2 more of those and my channel would be deleted immediately and permanently, possibly before I can argue my case. And that's not even the worst part. When I first skimmed through the emails, I was terrified because if they succeeded at doing that 2 more times, we would all lose this valuable community. And I would lose everything I spent years of my life and tens of thousands of dollars towards building. And that could still happen at any second without warning. I had a feeling the claim was fraudulent and probably the work of an online jihadi, but even if that was the case, even if they had no real basis for their claims, my channel is still in danger. Because I don't trust corporations like YouTube to prioritize doing what's right over what's easy or profitable. And because a lot of the back-end work is either automated or handled by overworked and underpaid laborers. So when I got this strike, in that panicked state, the easiest and most reasonable thing for me to do was to follow the instructions and file an appeal with the YouTube to contest the copyright claim. That seemed reasonable enough. I mean, YouTube was recommending to me that course of action. But thankfully, I remembered that if I fill that form with my legal name, my address, and my phone number, YouTube shares it with the person who made the claim. And if I fill the form with bogus information to protect my identity, I risk getting the channel deleted immediately. Unfortunately, there were other people who unwittingly submitted an appeal to these punks and they got doxxed. Their personal information was posted to groups full of other online jihadis who then use it to harass and harm the victims. And YouTube is absolutely complicit. It is such a broken system and it makes me so angry that my identity and the safety of my loved ones were 1 click away from being handed over on a silver platter to terrorists. How the fuck is that even possible? I stopped myself from following YouTube's instructions and I instead contacted their support team directly. It took a day, but thankfully they removed the strike and this channel is safe temporarily. But they did nothing to stop the jihadis from doing their dirty business again and again to other channels and maybe even to this channel in the future. What's crazy is that the numbnuts behind this publicly post about what they did and boast about how successful they've been so far, and yet YouTube has not removed their accounts. I do not want you to harass anybody, but if you're curious about the people behind this and if you want to bring it to YouTube's attention, I'm sure you can easily find out more in the comments. If you want to know other ways you can help aside from reporting the offenders, please keep watching because first, I need to tell you more about the other times I was targeted and how it helped us grow. Around 4 years ago, I posted videos on TikTok before I had a YouTube channel. I used to live stream and chat with random people who felt like discussing religion with me. And it was a really useful tool because it got me in contact with so many interesting strangers all over the world without them having to go through a lot of effort to find me or call me. You didn't have to be a spokesperson or an internet personality to have a voice. Anybody could participate with 1 click. I even had several popular Muslim TikTokers show up to my live streams and attempt to debate me, only to demonstrate how utterly incompetent they were. It was the first time the audience realized how easily they buckle under the tiniest bit of pushback. I used to be humble about it, but that's not helping me, so screw it. I'll own it. I can easily make any dawah men look like a fool because they essentially are. They're just used to having a flock of impressionable, uncritical thinkers for an audience. But if they face any resistance, they wince and they scream. A TikToker called Riyadh Muslim was one of those people. He was so out of his depth in his conversation with me that all he could say to basic questions was, "I'm so confused, bro." Are you saying that they are choosing to disbelieve?
Bro, I'm actually really confused, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I'm really confused.
He later asked me to delete our conversation because it was that embarrassing, but that's not gonna happen. Another TikToker, Adil Ghadban, was so intentionally obtuse that all he could do was repeat asinine questions about morality that made him look like he enjoyed the company of animals.
Very curious. According to your law, are you allowed to sleep with the donkey and get away with it? So
Are you serious? Would you sleep with a donkey? Can you imagine if I asked Muslims, "Hey Muslims, why don't you sleep with donkeys?"
Because we're not allowed.
Because we're not allowed? And I always handled things with more grace than I was given. But despite my manners and calm demeanor, even when handling the most obnoxious believers, many Muslims hated that I was allowed to talk critically about Islam at all. It is such a foreign concept to so many of them, because Islam is an authoritarian religion that thrives on taking up all the space and silencing opposition by any means necessary. So when I consistently helped the dawah men reveal how arrogant and stupid they sound, I was the target of the most common form of online jihad: harassment, threats, and censorship. I'd get messages all the time threatening to harm me or my family, which I kinda got desensitized to, unfortunately. I made a video about a particularly noteworthy example, which you might want to watch next. I also found out that my channel was a target of many group chats on WhatsApp and Telegram that exist mainly to mass report people like me. And this lowers the bar for jihad. Before, they had to blow themselves up or stab a critic personally, which still happens unfortunately, but now they could harm us without lifting a finger, with zero consequences. I was mass reported time and time again on TikTok for everything from nudity to hate speech, and unfortunately these efforts succeeded. I was kicked off of the platform so many times and no amount of successful appeals would restore my accounts. So I lost so much time and energy building channels that I will never get back. But every time I was targeted, it ended up helping me in some way. Because getting kicked off of TikTok forced me to focus on YouTube, which is a much better platform for my style and my mission. I started uploading longer videos, and with time I got better and better, both at expressing myself and at reaching a global audience. An audience of people who desperately needed me to keep doing my work. And so I did. I saved up a nest egg and I quit my career job as a well-paid engineer to focus on my work as Apostate Aladdin. If you think I'm doing this for the money, think again. I used to make enough to afford a mortgage and a car payment easily, but I gave it all up because I think I'm more valuable here. People value what I do because I'm not some angry and bitter opportunist. I don't harp on the same old tired tropes to denigrate Muslims. I care to help everyone, including ex-believers and current believers, and I'll continue to demonstrate that through my work. I help people think critically about their current and past beliefs, and I also help non-Muslims understand the nuances of how and why so many Muslims think the way they do, like I once used to. But of course, a lot of Muslims despise me and what I do on principle. I will always receive hate messages from people who don't even bother to watch my videos. And if the powers that be have anything to say about it, they won't even have the chance to watch my videos. The governments of Pakistan and Malaysia, for example, both legally requested that YouTube blocks my content in their countries. I don't know if that counts as state-sponsored online jihad, but at the very least, it's state-sponsored censorship. Pakistan succeeded, and my channel is not easily accessible there. Malaysia managed to block a few videos, but not the entire channel, at least not yet. And that is one of the many ways that YouTube is complicit in helping Islamists. They comply with bullshit requests to keep these populations ignorant and complacent, while allowing dawah men to spread their harmful rhetoric globally and make money off of it too. I can't get a sponsorship from a reputable company out of fear of Islamophobia, but the dawah men make bank on ad revenue and donations, and the Islamic centers that pay for their studios and their teams. Some of these men and women say that they wish they could kill apostates like me, so how the hell do they still have channels? I know it's easy to say that a government fighting to censor me, one guy in his living room, that makes them pathetic, and that means that my words are ringing true and they're scaring them. But it's also sad that so many people are kept ignorant and complacent because dissent is illegal. And it's actually terrifying to think about how much danger I'm in if an Islamic government goes beyond blocking and decides to harm me. I try not to think about it too hard or else I'll quit, but that's irresponsible of me to do. So if I won't quit, I need to lawyer up and I need to protect myself and my loved ones. Here's another instance of online jihad against me. Back when I live streamed on YouTube more often, I became the target of people who used gory imagery to disturb me and the audience and to try to get the channel deleted. When I hosted live streams for Muslim callers, some would pretend to be interested in a discussion only to hijack the live stream with a bunch of racial slurs or even horrible explicit videos of blood and death, sometimes customizing them with my face just to make it a little bit more messed up. I vaguely recall seeing my own simulated beheading when I wasn't even expecting anything more than a heated discussion. I'm not sure I ever fully got over the emotional scarring, but I didn't let it stop me. I didn't get sour and hateful. I didn't change my approach and dehumanize Muslims because of the actions of the worst of them. I made adjustments to my streaming setup, and I built a community of volunteers and supporters on Discord who have helped me in more ways than I could have possibly imagined. And I did not quit this channel then, and I'm not quitting now. Some attempts have been made since to sabotage the live streams, but we've stopped them time and time again, because apes together strong. Although I'm not happy about such attacks, there are always upsides and lessons learned. I don't know if I would have ever built the Discord server or the safe streaming setup without these incidents, and without the help of all the volunteers who reached out because of what happened. So every time they attack, we return stronger and more united. As for the recent attack, it reminded me of how eager you all are to help and how much you appreciate my work. There are so many comments under my recent posts reminding me of the value of my videos and of all the different ways I've helped you, and I thank you for these kind words. This attack has also forced me to review my uploaded content and to take backups more seriously. There are so many people who began downloading my videos because they don't want to lose them forever if the channel disappears. So thank you, jihadis. You're helping us ensure that our voices will never disappear. This has also reminded me of the extent of the sacrifices I've made for this channel, for all of you, and that I really should be mindful of the burnout that I'm constantly experiencing. I cannot fight motivated and well-funded groups of religious zealots all by myself. Having a Discord community helps, but I need to afford to hire people to help manage the less creative side of the channel. And I need to hire lawyers to protect my identity and to ensure that my safety is never compromised by YouTube's broken and inept system. I need to hire staff or contractors, even on an as-need basis, so I can focus on making good videos instead of getting distracted by all the overhead and the crisis management. I'm not gonna lie, I feel so undervalued, both financially and by the algorithm. So if I can afford to upgrade this channel, I could reach and help more people and hopefully make my activism sustainable and affordable, because I cannot continue on this trajectory forever. And this last attack reminded me of how much I needed a change. I believe that the work I do is valuable and critical to de-radicalize extremists and to get the average believer to think before they go off the deep end. I believe it is a lot more impactful than when a bunch of Christians opportunistically crap on Muslims and Islam to prop up their religion instead. Because believe it or not, their primary audience is other Christians, and they're not as impactful with Muslims as they pretend they are. I'm going to be real with you. Being part of a coalition of these Christian anti-Islam channels could help me immensely. It would help me gain and retain a huge audience, even if I had to start over with a new channel if this one got deleted. It would also help me financially because Christians have deep pockets and a lot of them love a token ex-Muslim spokesperson. But I refuse to even implicitly align with such channels, and I've always made that very clear. So call me arrogant, call me a pick-me, I don't really care. I'd rather remain true to my principles. So if you would like to help this community succeed despite being independent from Christian and far-right influence, if you would like to help me protect my identity and my sanity, if you would like to effectively fight against Islamism on YouTube, this is the sort of channel you should be supporting. I am crowdfunding in order to afford the help I need to keep developing this community, and to protect myself and my loved ones, and to give myself enough time to create some of the best videos in this niche while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Editor's note, I forgot to say this explicitly. I set up a GoFundMe and the link is in the description, so please check it out and contribute if you can. Thank you. Over the next year, I will be going back to school to get an education that is a lot more relevant to the work that I do here. And I'll also be undergoing a couple of minor surgeries at the same time while making videos somehow. I'm not asking for help paying for school or medical expenses because I am lucky enough and prepared enough to cover them myself. but I do need help so I can attend to my life and my health while keeping a more regular upload schedule. I kid you not, I just came back from the dentist and they are not pleased with how much I grind my teeth even in my sleep. So clearly I'm too stressed to continue doing this the same way. And if you can't help financially, I understand. I still appreciate and value your contributions, so follow me on every platform, including my new second channel, More Aladdin. Leave a long comment every now and then, hit the like button, and share a video if you can, because every little bit helps. Or if you can afford to offer me your discounted services as a lawyer or editor or web developer and so on, please let me know. I plan on expanding and backing up to more platforms, including Spotify and maybe even my own website, because I don't trust that YouTube will always protect my freedom of speech or my identity. So thank you again to all my supporters who help me offer a balanced and nuanced voice on behalf of ex-Muslims. And thank you for keeping this community a thriving safe haven for those of us who need it. I could not do this without you. And together we will turn yet another cowardly attack into a chance to grow stronger. And as always, think critically and think for yourself, and consider watching one of these videos next.